Welcome to the Cenario podcast, your guide to mental health and well-being. Each episode, we uncover practical tools, discuss expert insights, and explore how supplements can transform your mental health journey. Get ready to learn, grow, and thrive with us.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. What if a simple vitamin, something you probably take for granted, could actually hold a surprising key to better mental well-being? We mostly think of vitamin D for, bone strength or maybe immunity, but science is increasingly revealing its powerful influence on the brain, almost like a hormone, really. So our mission in this deep dive is basically to cut through the noise, break down the science, look at the signs of deficiency, and give you practical steps. Think of it as your shortcut to being genuinely well-informed on this connection. It's pretty important stuff.
It really is. And what's fascinating here, I think, and maybe I'm overlooked, is how something so fundamental, something we usually see just through the physical health lens, how it has such profound, really intricate implications for our mental landscape. It just highlights how interconnected everything is in the body, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. So yeah, we link vitamin D with sunshine, obviously, but its real power, maybe, is in how it behaves like a hormone. That's a critical distinction for this fat-soluble nutrient. So for anyone less familiar, let's just quickly recap. Your body makes it when sunlight hits your skin. Simple enough. You can also get it from some foods naturally, and, well, obviously supplements are everywhere. But the key thing for this discussion is that it acts way beyond a typical vitamin. It actively regulates really crucial processes, including ones that directly hit your brain.
Right, that distinction is vital. And when we look at vitamin D's functions specifically related to mental health, it gets pretty compelling. Sure, it's essential for calcium absorption, bone health, modulates the immune system. That's all background context. Important, but not our main focus today. What's really significant here is its role as a vital cofactor in making neurotransmitters. You can sort of picture it supervising the building blocks, making sure your brain has what it needs to create enough dopamine, serotonin, those crucial mood chemicals. And beyond that, equally important for clarity and mood, it actively works to reduce inflammation, both in the brain and the body.
And it's that complex role, isn't it, that leads us straight to this correlation that research keeps showing between vitamin D levels and mental well-being. Low levels seem increasingly linked to a whole range of issues, things like depression, anxiety, even cognitive decline, seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, and sleep problems too. It impacts a lot. Let's maybe dig into depression first. Some large studies have consistently found that people with low vitamin D are much more likely to have depressive symptoms. There was that big meta-analysis, I think it was in the British Journal of Psychiatry, it concluded that folks with the absolute lowest levels had a significantly higher risk of depression. So what's going on there? Is it just a link or more?
Yeah, it seems to be more than just correlation. We're looking at potential causation, really, at a foundational level. You see, vitamin D receptors, they're packed into brain areas that are heavily involved in regulating mood. And what's really interesting is it doesn't just help make serotonin, the feel-good hormone. It seems to act more like a master key, helping the brain actually use and respond properly to these mood regulators. So it's not just about having enough, it's about the whole system working correctly. A deficiency can lead to a kind of dysregulation.
Dysregulation.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And it's not just depression we're seeing links with. What about anxiety? How might vitamin D fit into that picture? It seems less studied than depression, maybe, but there are suggestions that low levels could make stress responses worse.
Exactly. And the key insight there, perhaps, isn't just that vitamin D lowers inflammation generally. It seems to actively quiet down the brain's internal alarm system. Think of it like hitting a reset button when the nervous system is stuck in overdrive. By dampening that inflammation, it might directly lessen the biological drivers behind anxiety. It could help calm a brain that feels perpetually on edge.
That's a powerful idea. And thinking clearly. Cognitive function. That also shows a link there, right?
Yeah.
Low vitamin D correlated with problems in memory, focus, decision-making. We often hear about this with older adults, but it's interesting how many younger people report that awful brain fog as a symptom too. It's quite frustrating for them.
Very much so. That fog is a common complaint.
And then there's seasonal affective disorder, SAD. This isn't just feeling a bit down in winter. It's a real type of depression that follows the seasons, usually getting worse in fall and winter when, well, sunlight drops off. And it's no coincidence, probably, that vitamin D levels also tend to plummet during those darker months.
Absolutely. The timing lines up perfectly. And the evidence we have strongly suggests that supplementation can help reduce SAD symptoms. So that makes it a really important seasonal thing to consider. especially if you live somewhere with long, dark winters. It offers a bit of tangible hope, maybe.
Okay, so translating all this science, what does it mean for you listening? How might you spot a potential deficiency? Could that low mood or the anxiety or even just feeling foggy, could it be linked to not having enough vitamin D? Some common clues to watch for? Chronic fatigue, just low energy all the time, muscle weakness maybe, bone or joint pain that you can't explain, getting sick often, frequent infections, and then the mood stuff, feeling generally down or irritable, trouble sleeping, and that brain fog we mentioned, difficulty concentrating.
Yeah, if several of those sound familiar, getting a blood test is a really sensible next step. And for optimal mental health support, the research currently points towards aiming for a level between, say, 50 and 80 nanomoles per liter. That's unmol-mol-del. That's the target range you'd want to discuss with your doctor.
Right. Knowing that, the next question is obvious.
Yeah.
How do we actually get more vitamin D? Where does it come from? First, the most natural way, sunlight. The usual advice is aiming for maybe 10 to 30 minutes of midday sun, a few times a week. But you have to remember things like how dark your skin is if you wear sunscreen, even where you live geographically. That all affects how much your body makes.
True. It's not one size fits all.
And beyond sun, food. You can definitely incorporate vitamin D-rich foods more consciously. Think fatty fish, salmon's great, sardines, mackerel too, egg yolks have some, beef liver if that's your thing. And also, lots of fortified foods. Now, plant milks often are. Cereals, too. Check the labels.
Dietary sources are good, but often not enough on their own for optimal levels.
Which leads us to the third option, supplements. For many people, this is just the most practical way to guarantee you hit those optimal levels, especially if you're somewhere with little sun year-round or you have other risk factors stopping you from making or absorbing it well.
Right. And when we talk amounts, how much do you actually need? Well, general health guidelines often hover around 600 to 800 IU, that's international units per day. But for really supporting mental health optimally, many experts lean towards a bit higher, maybe 1,000 to 2,000 IU daily. But again, this really depends on your starting blood levels and your individual situation. It varies.
And this next point is so important. Always talk to your doctor or healthcare professional before starting high-dose supplements. Seriously, it needs to be safe and effective for you. While some daily vitamin D is fine for most, you really want to avoid going over 4,000 IU a day unless a doctor specifically tells you to. The best way, get tested, monitor your levels, adjust based on results. That's the gold standard.
Absolutely. And just to reinforce the science behind all this, if we look at the bigger picture, there was a big review in 2020 in Nutrients, I believe. It found really strong links between low vitamin D and depression across all age groups, not just older people. And other studies, like in the Journal of Affective Disorders, have shown pretty clearly that correcting a deficiency actually improves mood scores in people with mild to moderate depression. So this isn't just theory. There's solid research backing it up. And let's not forget that broader role we mentioned, vitamin D helping to modulate inflammation and oxidative stress. Both of those processes, they're often significantly elevated in people dealing with mental health challenges. So vitamin D's ability to kind of dial those down, that's a direct way it can benefit our brains and our overall mental state.
Okay, that makes sense. So thinking about who might need to pay extra attention, who's most at risk for being deficient. There are definitely some groups more vulnerable. It's good to know if you might be in one. People with darker skin tones, for instance. Higher melanin just naturally reduces how much vitamin D the skin can make from sun. Older adults, too, their skin becomes less efficient at making it. People with limited sun exposure, maybe their job keeps them inside, or they live in northern regions. That's a big one. Also, if you have certain gut or liver conditions, that could affect absorption or processing. And importantly, vegans and vegetarians need to be mindful as they get less from typical dietary sources like fatty fish or eggs.
Exactly. And for anyone in those groups, proactively thinking about supplementation might be particularly important for supporting mental well-being. It's really about bridging that potential nutrient gap, a gap that could, honestly, have a pretty noticeable impact on how you feel every day.
Yeah. When you put it all together, the connection between vitamin D and mental health, it feels too significant to just brush aside, doesn't it? Whether you find yourself struggling with, low mood or that nagging anxiety, brain fog, just chronic tiredness, addressing a potential vitamin D issue could genuinely make a difference in how you feel and function.
It really could, and that raises a key point for everyone listening. When you address your vitamin D levels, you're potentially doing more than just easing symptoms. You might actually be supporting a really fundamental root aspect of your well-being, contributing to a deeper, more lasting internal balance.
So wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway for you today? Maybe just consider how this simple yet really powerful nutrient, one we often overlook, might be playing a role even subtly in your own daily life, your own well-being. And perhaps, what's one simple step you could take? Maybe just learning more or having that conversation with your doctor to explore it further. Food for thought.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cenario podcast. Don't forget to visit Cenario.com for more expert tips, articles, and supplements designed to support your mental health. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care of yourself.